Ward 3 will take the prayer and the pledge.
Father, we stand before Thee with bowed heads and humbled hearts, hoping that You would watch over the proceedings of this meeting, and we do Thy will when we make the decisions that affect the citizens of this city. We hope that You would watch over those overseas that are protecting our freedoms and our rights from terrorists and other organizations. We would hope that You'd watch over Alderman Berry as he fights through his illness. And we would hope that You'd watch all over those, like Mayor Hayes on his trips and journeys. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
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 I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So moved. Second.
Gibson,
Yes.
Robinson,
Yes.
Thomas,
Yes.
Vestal,
Yes.
Height,
Yes.
and Witcher.
Yes.
Now, to the communications, is there any communication?
I need to pull number 3.
I move we accept and file 1 through 6, excluding 3.
Well, I also need to
about 6?
put number. I need to read 6 also.
Yeah,
Then.
have 6.
Okay, 1 through 5.
Is there a communication about
Second.
the mayor not here and Olin in his place?
No.
It's not? Okay.
So call the roll, please, on that.
On communication 1 through 5,
Minus no
minus
1.
3 and 6.
Okay, yes, please.
Okay. Gibson,
Yes.
Robinson,
Yes.
Thomas,
Yes.
Vestal,
Yes.
Height,
Yes.
and Witcher.
Yes.
Okay.
Read number 3, please.
In its entirety.
Please do. And I'd ask Mr. Rhodes if he'd come up to the microphone to talk about it just a moment.
The North Little Rock Parks and Recreation Commission will hold a public hearing at 5:30 p.m. on Monday, June the 21st, 2004, at the Patrick Henry Hayes Senior Center Conference Room at 401 West Pershing, North Little Rock. The purpose of the meeting will be to get public input concerning parks and recreation needs for the city of North Little Rock. If you have recreational or park needs or requests you want to address, please call the Parks and Recreation Administration office at 791-8538 by Wednesday, June 16, 2004, to be placed on the agenda to speak. Ethnic minorities and individuals with disabilities are encouraged to attend. Thank you.
Just basically, the letter's self-explanatory, but I want to encourage anyone that wants to come and talk about any recreational needs or capital needs that they might have for your neighborhoods or communities. So, thank you.
Move we accept and file.
Question. Is this for the parks, or does this include the riverfront trail also?
This includes any parks and recreational needs throughout the city. It can be on any subject
So
related to
it does include the trail then possibly? Okay, thank you.
Gibson,
Yes.
Robinson,
Yes.
Thomas,
Yes.
Vestal,
Yes.
Height,
Yes.
and Witcher.
Yes.
Then communication number 6.
Dear council members, I am recommending that we move forward with Phase 2 of the skateboard park at a cost of $100,000 and that this amount be taken from the Sales Tax Capital Improvement Fund. Dreamland Skate Park Incorporated has completed Phase 1 and can return to North Little Rock around July the 12th, 2004 to begin Phase 2. I am requesting a voice vote on this communication. If it is favorable, I will sponsor legislation on June the 28th council meeting regarding the funding for Phase 2. Sincerely, Patrick A. Hayes, Mayor.
Move we accept as filed.
And I move we accept and file and a voice vote to approve the expenditure of $100,000 from the sales tax
Second.
improvement. It's your motion. That's my request for your motion to be done.
Very well.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Gibson,
Yes.
Robinson,
Yes.
Thomas,
Yes.
Vestal,
Yes.
Height,
Yes.
and Witcher.
Yes.
So are the communications.
Think any old business here? We'll start with 0432.
Alderman Thomas, I believe this needs to be held.
He wants to hold that one. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, then 0418.
He's not here,
Is
and
this the last time for that?
it's the 6th time on the agenda, so and he didn't give any instructions to call it, so.
And is this the last time? Does that, did it go off an agenda at this time?
That's correct.
Okay.
It's removed.
Okay, then 0431.
We're going to hold that one.
Hold that one, okay. So that is all the old business. Now the new business, we have Resolution 0438. Mr. Mayor, did he have instructions on what he'd like to do? Does anyone know that?
You'd like to have that called,
Okay.
according to my notes.
This is a resolution authorizing the electric department to participate in a power supply request for proposal with other municipalities.
Move for adoption.
Second.
Gibson.
Yes.
Robinson.
Yes.
Thomas.
Yes.
Vestal.
Yes.
Height.
Yes.
And Witcher.
Yes.
Okay, then Resolution 0439.
Call
The
it,
mayor
please.
calls.
This is a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement for services with Kenneth J. Pennebaker Center for Adults.
Move for adoption.
Second.
Call for the vote.
Gibson.
Yes.
Robinson.
Yes.
Thomas.
Yes.
Vestal.
Yes.
Height.
Yes.
And Witcher.
Yes.
And Alderman Gibson, 04.
Call that one, please.
This is a resolution appropriating $25,000 from the general fund for the demolition debris removal program.
I move for adoption. That's what they're known as the dumpster program.
Dumpster, okay.
Gibson.
Yes.
Robinson.
Yes.
Thomas.
Yes.
Vestal.
Yes.
Height.
Yes.
And Witcher.
Yes.
So are the resolutions.
And then ordinances in 0436. I think the mayor would probably want that
He
called.
does want it called, please.
This is an ordinance waiving formal bidding requirements for the purchase of a fire truck with a pumping apparatus for the North Little Rock Fire Department. First reading.
Move to suspend the rules, place on second reading.
Second.
Gibson.
Yes.
Robinson.
Yes.
Thomas.
Yes.
Vestal.
Yes.
Height.
Yes.
And Witcher.
Yes.
This is an ordinance waiving formal bidding requirements for the purchase of a fire truck with a pumping apparatus for the North Little Rock Fire Department. Second reading.
Move to suspend the rules, place on third reading.
Second.
Gibson.
Yes.
Robinson.
Yes.
Thomas.
Yes.
Vestal.
Yes.
Height.
Yes.
And Witcher.
Yes.
This is an ordinance waiving formal bidding requirements for the purchase of a fire truck with a pumping apparatus for the North Little Rock Fire Department. Third and final reading.
On the question.
Question, please. Chief, could you tell us where this truck's going? I think you told us before, but I'm sorry I forgot.
Yes, sir. We've got this one scheduled to go to 15th and Share. It's our most busiest station. And that apparatus that's currently there will be moved out to Maumelle Boulevard. That apparatus at Maumelle will be placed in reserve status and allow us to phase one of our older reserve trucks out of
All right,
service.
thank you.
I think the mayor wants 0437.
No, we need to,
We
we
didn't finish
We
that.
got to
need to
read.
finish this one.
I'm sorry.
Gibson.
Yes.
Robinson.
Yes.
Thomas.
Yes.
Vestal.
Yes.
Height.
Yes.
And Witcher.
Yes.
On the emergency, Gibson.
Yes.
Robinson.
Yes.
Thomas.
Yes.
Vestal.
Yes.
Height.
Yes.
And Witcher.
Yes.
And I think it's my understanding that the mayor wants 0437 to be held.
Held and also 0438.
48, okay.
So we're down to 0439, and that's mine.
that's-
I'd have it called, please.
This is an ordinance clarifying that charitable or nonprofit businesses and organizations are required to obtain privileged licenses, but at no cost. First reading.
But from a standpoint before any motions, we ran into a situation, I'll ask the city attorney to explain it, to where that we had people who would come into town under a non-profit status. We had no idea they were here or what activities they were doing were legally zoned or not. So I'll ask the city attorney to explain.
Certainly, it has long been the policy of the city council that nonprofits do not have to pay for a privilege license, but confusion exists as to whether they have to get one. And even within city departments, my department, city clerk's office will say you have to get one, but at no charge, whereas other cities, other agencies think, well, you don't have to pay for one, so you don't have to get one. And even looking at the language, there is some ambiguity in the ordinance, so it was, upon my request, I'd visit with Alderman Gibson that we clarify that. And here's why I think it's imperative and important. How many times do nonprofits come in, open a business, whether it's a daycare, a church, whatever the case may be, and they're not zoned properly? Well, the way that you can help resolve that is before you can get a business license from the clerk's office, you have to get a certificate, a zoning certificate. So this will help eliminate that problem. For instance, somebody wants to open a nonprofit, they come to the clerk's office, say, I want a business license, then at that point in time, they got to go to planning, get a zoning certificate, and then come back and get it. Ensures that nobody opens up zoning improperly. It's still no cost, but just clarifies they have to go make that one step before they can operate in the city. And it'll help eliminate a lot of problems we've had in the past.
And the question of as to whether or not their nonprofit status is legal or not, they have to produce the documents that so states. Is that correct?
Yeah, if you take a look at the last sentence, Alderman Gibson specifically wanted to say in last sentence of paragraph, under section 1, new paragraph E, any such business or organization shall provide the city clerk or clerk's designee a copy of its articles of incorporation or nonprofit determination letter from the Internal Revenue Service. So they can require that to be presented in order to make sure they're a legitimate nonprofit.
It's a pleasure for council.
Move suspend rules, place on second reading.
Second.
Gibson.
Yes.
Robinson.
Yes.
Thomas.
Yes.
Vestal.
Yes.
Height.
Yes.
And Witcher.
Yes.
This is an ordinance clarifying that charitable or nonprofit businesses and organizations are required to obtain privileged license, but at no cost. Second reading.
Move to suspend rules, place the ordinance on its third reading.
Second.
Gibson.
Yes.
Robinson.
Yes.
Thomas.
Yes.
Vestal.
Yes.
Height.
Yes.
And Witcher.
Yes.
This is an ordinance clarifying that charitable or nonprofit businesses and organizations are required to obtain privileged licenses, but at no cost. Third and final reading.
Call for the vote, please.
Gibson.
Yes.
Robinson.
Yes.
Thomas.
Yes.
Vestal.
Yes.
Height.
Yes.
And Witcher.
Yes.
On the emergency, Gibson.
Yes.
Robinson.
Yes.
Thomas.
Yes.
Vestal.
Yes.
Height.
Yes.
And Witcher.
Yes.
That is all legislation, Your Honor.
I just had one thing I wanted to mention. I'd already mentioned to the city attorney, but there's people probably watching tonight. We have one lot out on Washington Avenue that's zoned C4, just one single lot. It's in an area, a residential area, but I think there's nothing we can do about it. They're wanting to put a business in that goes in this, so it actually would go into C3, but I think there's nothing we can do. It was probably 40 years ago. It hadn't been used in that time for anything other than, I guess, a residence, really. But there's nothing we could do about that. Is that it's not correct interpretation?
Yeah, depending on the stage they're at, if they've already got their business license or in the process, the only way to stop somebody from entering a business in a location that's currently zoned properly would be to rezone it. And, you go through the procedures and notice, obviously, that could take longer than if somebody goes in and gets their business license.
Okay.
But, I go back to that's the dangers of rezoning property, as Alderman Gibson always talks about. Special uses are always a better process than a zoning because, you might zone it for a business that meets the desires of the neighborhood, it's no problem, but 40 years from now, it might be a real headache to them, so.
I
have a
think
question.
I think it was a fashion and blind business and just a small operation, but it's still zoned C4. Go ahead.
Fashion and blind. Okay, I was wondering if this was a piece of property that they were wanting to put a used car lot on. But we're talking about two different things
No,
on Washington.
No, I think it's probably a beauty shop.
Thomas, one of the things that we ran into where I live, my side of the street was zoned R1, the other side of the street was zoned R2. We went through the process, and it was not a lengthy process, but we created the land use plan and took everything to R1. I'm very aware of the piece of property on East Washington that you're referring to, and there was no reason for it ever to be C4 in the first place for that. I think if really it's going to be C3, that you probably ought to find some way to downzone that piece of property to C3, because you sure don't want C4 property sitting there in the middle of that neighborhood. Very difficult. I know we ran into some of the problems downtown when we started on some things down there. There was some property along Maple that was improperly zoned that would have been a major detriment to the neighborhood, and we were able to go in and make some of those changes but that was in 1983, and it still took us 10 years to get the development going, but we made the changes. I would look at trying to do something up and down East Washington, because you don't want East Washington to become like East Broadway.
And I'd like to make a comment as well. I think I know where the Fashion Blind place is, and you mentioned a beauty shop. I would be real concerned about parking for business right there at that particular spot on East Broadway. Would that business have to come in? They would not have to come into planning for review or anything?
Assuming that in C3 a beauty or barber shop is proper, I don't know. Planning might know at the top of their head, but assuming it is, no.
But
Now,
I
if
think-
they build a building or do stuff like that, any construction, they'll have to come through site review plan. But
I think parking would be an issue, though, at that particular piece of property, because they would have to park, I think in the alley, there's, it would be a real problem there. I think that's 1800 block, 1700 block of Washington.
The lot
maybe?
is currently empty. They'd have to go through site plan review.
Okay,
And
that's
it's only
good.
50 foot wide, and the setbacks for C4 are pretty long. So the building, he came in and talked to me this morning, and it may not fit. He may not be able to build a building of the size that he's wanting. With the
Okay.
15-foot setback and it's 50 foot wide, it's not leaving much of a building.
Okay,
And a 40-foot front yard setback. So
okay.
it gets the lot down and the size of the building pretty small. So it may work itself out just because of the zoning.
Thanks.
I'm not sure how you could build much building on a C4 building on a 50-foot lot.
Yeah, he came in, and I showed him how big the building could be, and that I guess he went over and talked to
Okay.
Thomas after that.
But if it's on C4, I'd try to find some way to get it off of being C4.
Any other members of the council?
Just a quick plug for a couple of bike rides that are going to be held on our river trail this Saturday morning. One's Cartized Tour de Rock. It starts out in the Burns Park soccer complex at 8 a.m. And then St. Jude is having a bike ride that starts at 9:30 a.m. down around the Willow, or the Gators, right around the Main Street Bridge. But there's two charity bike rides, and so we just want to put in a lot of people are using our trails in North Little Rock.
I have two things I'd like to say. The new skate park is really nice. I stopped by yesterday, and there were people there using it, and it's very nice. So I'm really excited about phase 2 that's going in. And my second thing is, I guess this would go to Mr. Chapman or Mike Smith. The neighbors that live off of 5th and Willow are real concerned about the sidewalks over there, and they are wanting a status report, so, on 5th and Willow.
No, you're not talking about 5th and Orange, you're talking about 5th and Willow.
5th and Willow.
Okay, I don't know the status of that, but I'll find out.
Okay. Well, would you
Get it to
give me
you
a call tomorrow on it?
Sure.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Any other?
Ready.
Microphone's open.
Public comment period. Anyone would like to address the council?
I'm here tonight to ask for your help with the lights in the First Pentecostal parking lot. And it was it was June 10, 1996, when they were on the agenda, if you remember, to get a C3 changed to an R5 for the school. And part of the conditions for them to get that at that time, they agreed to turn the lights away from the neighborhood. And their new parking lot has several poles with 4 large lights on each pole. They are stadium power lights, and they are directed outward, not downward. And so I live on Starfield, and they illuminate my house just like I'm in a stadium. And my request is that they would honor their agreement that they made to get the code variance or the code change in '96, because it's so uncomfortable I have 2 sets of French doors in my den, and it's impossible to even sit in that den with that many lights just right toward the houses. And I would like to have some help to get those lights turned away from the neighborhood. I think they could turn them straight down because they appear to have like a band around each light. And if that's true, then if they turned them straight down, they would still illuminate the parking lot, but they would not shine into the neighborhood. There's also a light over the back door of the new sanctuary that has no shield or cover over it, and if I'm on my deck, and my deck is my only backyard because of the slope of my lot, I cannot look any way but toward the inside of my house with those lights on. They normally have services on Wednesday night and Sunday night. Sometimes they have special things down there. But I have no problem with the church being there. I have no problem with the church, period. I just want the lights to be turned downward so that I can enjoy my property. Could you help me with that?
First thing, I guess, for the record, your name, Lois Hargrove.
Lois Hargrove.
Lives
yes.
on Starfield.
1306 Starfield.
Miss Woodard, can you send your night crew up there one night this week?
Wednesday,
And just
Sunday.
and get us a status report, and then give us some idea of maybe what they could do to do that, and then we'll just write the church a letter from the electric department or from the city. I'll get with the mayor on it. Obviously, it's been discussed with them, but for some reason, I've realized it's going to be an expense for them, but they're going to have to get something up there to adjust I imagine it's the light over the back sanctuary, and there's 2 lights on that very back pole, isn't it?
No, sir. It is all the lights.
On the back poles?
No, sir.
All of them?
All of them on the parking lot.
It's because what happens, they've got 4 lights on each pole, and they go out the same direction.
They go north, south, east, and west. 4 sides of the pole. And because of the way my lot is situated, it is on at the back of the parking lot, and it's on the east side of the back of the parking lot. And so when I'm on my deck or in my den, and when I look outward or toward the city, then the lights are like in the stadium. They're large lights, and they're like spotlights. You can't look at them. I mean, they're just...
You're aware where the address, Starfield, which is off of A and Del Mar, and okay.
Is the church aware of your concern? Are they aware of it?
Joe Smith, I faxed Mayor Hayes on April the 12th and asked him, would he help me with this? And he assigned it to Joe, and Joe's been helpful. And my problem at that time also was that the lights came on and the timer left them on until 5 o'clock the next morning following a service. And so my den and my bedroom was like daylight, even with the shades drawn. I didn't have, the blackout blinds. But this past Sunday, Joe told me, he said, Lois, I'm going to address the problem, and he said, give me a couple of weeks. Well, I waited 4 weeks, thinking perhaps it would take them longer. And they did have the timer set where it would go off sometime after about midnight, I think, because I went to bed at 11 and I woke up at 2 and they were off Sunday night. That was last night. That was a real point of contention because that was in my bedroom all the time. Joe's working on it. But it seems that if we don't kind of put a hard and fast date to this, it just gets, the procrastination just drags along. And that's, like I said, my deck is my only backyard. And my den has 2 sets of French doors on it. And so I feel like, my feeling is that as a minister of the gospel, he is a man of his word. If he were made aware, that I feel very strongly that he should just keep his word that he gave when he got the zone change, I think that he would do it. He just needs it to be brought strongly to his attention. That's my feeling.
Okay. So we need to follow up with Mr. Joe Smith and let him, and you need, if we check it out, it needs to be on a Wednesday night or Sunday when the lights are on.
Sir?
It needs to be on a Wednesday night
Yes,
or a
sir.
Sunday night.
Yes, sir.
So that you can see the problem.
Yes, sir. And if you drove up, on Starfield or around Skyline, because that's the way it goes, it just comes around Skyline, comes back Del Mar, and then comes, go back down Skyline. And I haven't discussed this with my neighbors, so I don't really know what their feeling is. Haven't tried to get a consensus, but I would really appreciate it if attention was drawn to it to the point that it was addressed.
Okay, thank you for coming.
All right, what can I expect from this point? I mean, you will come down and check it, and then, and you'll do it on Wednesday night, and I will hear from somebody, or what should I do? How should I follow up?
I think we need to maybe ask Mr. Smith to contact you since he's working on the problem. He's here now in the other building.
He's very good about communicating. Yeah,
I think he's out in the other building. But talk with him when you leave, if you will.
and that's fine. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
And if it doesn't get corrected, I'll visit with you again. Thank you.
Okay. You gonna say?
I'm Jimmy Yard, and we just need to say a quick thank you to the police department for the good work they did down in Rose City today. I think it was on Puckett Street. And remember the officer in your prayers. What he had to do was something he didn't want to do. And the sanitation manager took care of a situation they overlooked for several months, and so we need to say thank you for that. Have a good evening.
Mayor, I got one thing I forgot about. I just wanted to bring attention to everybody here tonight that the passing of the untimely death of Jim Harvey's son last week. I didn't find out about it till Friday, but for those people that had not heard about it, Jim Harvey's son, I believe he was 38 years of age, passed away a week ago Sunday.
Move adjourned.
Second. Call the roll, please.
Gibson.
Yes.
Robinson.
Yes.
Thomas.
Yes.
Hold on. You did wonderful.
Height.
We're going to have you more often.
There wasn't much here.
No.
What do you mean it wasn't more? We spent a few $100,000.
Mr. Ford.